So the first one I was going to ask you was very basic. What was it that made you want to become an actor, and how'd you get into the business?
That's easy. I was about 10 years old. My uncle did a lot of community theater, and so he cast me in my first role when I was 10, and kind of caught the bug from that point on. And did a lot of theater. I still do a lot of theater. I mean, theater is really the place that I work and make a living at. So I teach at Point Park University in Pittsburgh, but it all started when I was around 10 years old.
10 years old?
Yeah.
Hey, going to the theater, I had this later on, but I wanted to ask you, I know you did some David Mamet.
I did, yeah.
What was it like doing the Glengarry Glen Ross?
Oh, fucking loved it. You got to say that.
Yes,
if you're going to do Mamet. Absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah, loved it. Every second of it.
It's one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, it is. Mine too.
Going into Martin, I'm just going to jump right into Martin. What was the audition process like? How did you get the lead for Martin?
Oh, that's simple too. I was a senior in high school. Senior in college. But I started late in college. I was 27 when I graduated. So when I shot Martin, I was 27 years old because we started shooting about 4 or 5 months after I graduated. But George came and saw me in a play, and then asked me if I would be interested in this movie he was writing. And I said sure, because he saw my work in this play. He had changed the character, went away and rewrote the character of Martin to play younger. He first had an image of an older guy playing him. But then my performance in this play changed his mind. And so there was no real official audition. He just had seen me in this play, and then a couple of months called and said, "Do you want the role?" And I said, "Of course." So that's how it happened.
Now, do you think Martin's a vampire?
I think Martin's a vampire in the sense that he does take blood.
Okay.
So he's not the gothic vampire. I mean, you know, the idea is, I think part of the idea, we leave it up to the audience as to exactly what Martin is. I think he could be just a crazy mixed up kid.
Now, I heard there was a longer cut of Martin that supposedly got stolen and lost. Have you ever seen that footage?
I saw it when it was originally all put together. I did see it, but I don't think there's anything that was in it that would have changed or have made, that would have made the version that we have, the 90-minute version that we have today, any different or any better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that is gone to us for whatever reason. However it happened. There's a conspiracy theory theorists out there discussing it, but I have no idea what happened to it.
Okay. I want to ask you about the movie Blood Eaters.
As he does a spit take.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which is also known as Toxic Zombie.
Exactly. For a friend, I just signed a VHS copy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's
I
the
don't
first one
remember
without Romero.
Yeah, because I just moved to New York after shooting Martin.
Okay.
And I was looking for work, and this happened to fall into my lap. I had no idea what I was getting into, and I have no idea. I haven't seen the movie since it was shot, and I hear I'm okay. But it was a kind of weird experience. A lot of amateurs were involved. And
it's hard to find. I can't find it.
Well, you just missed a VHS copy.
Oh, so
on the table. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, that's what I remember of Toxic Zombies, a.k.a. Blood Eaters.
All right.
Other than the guy that directed it, I guess wrote it and directed it, Chuck McCann. I think that's what his name was. Died in the September 11th.
Oh, really? He was on the plane, or was he in the...
No, he was in the trade center. Yeah. I was just reminded of that. So, yeah, it's a shame. He was a nice guy. Yeah, very nice guy.
The character of Whiteface in Night Riders, you had to do basically no dialogue.
Yeah, thank God.
What was the acting experience like doing that?
I loved it. I had the opportunity to choose between one of two characters. There was a guy by the name of Randy Kovics who's in it, who plays a kind of jester that runs around with the motorcycle people and does stunts and stuff like that. And I could have had that role, or I could have done this whiteface role. And I decided to do the mime, not because I like mime or anything, but because I thought it was more interesting to play a character that never took his whiteface off. So there was a kind of mystery about who is this guy and why is he there, and he's hanging around with this mystic Brother Blue, and so I decided to go that direction. Okay. So that's the reason I decided to take that role.
Did you do like a character background on?
In my head, maybe. I think probably there's a runaway or something like that. Kind of one of those people that run away to the circus.
Okay.
So I kind of did the same. Had the same kind of idea in my head. Some orphan runaway, some Dickensian creature from the street.
Obviously, no stretching special effects.
Nope.
Your experience on the Creep Show, with all that makeup effects.
Yeah. I spent about a week doing the preparation. Tom here had to do a lot of, we had to do a plaster cast in my head and my hands. And that took about a week for me. He made a negative, and then he poured a latex positive mask, and then he did sculpting for a couple of weeks. And then I came back and shot for a week. So for me, it was about a 2-week process. For him, it was probably over a month. Yeah.
And that wasn't your voice, right?
Some of it was, but very little of it was used. It was actually the actor that played Nathan Gratham a lot. Okay. Yeah. I can't recall his name right off the top of my head, but yeah.
Okay. Real quick on Midnight. Based on the novel by John Russo.
Right.
Did you read the novel before you did the film?
No. I just read the screenplay. Jack is a friend of George's because Jack wrote a bunch of Night of the Living Dead. Right. And a friend of mine was also part of the Romero family in the 60s. And Raymond Lane, who starred in Always Vanilla. With that connection, Jack cast a bunch of people that Raymond knew, because I worked with Raymond teaching. And so I got cast in this John Russo. That was my first meeting with John. He cast me in that, and that's how I got the role of Abraham.
For Day of the Dead, 30th anniversary that you're here for.
Yes, sir.
You saw Day of the Dead in the theaters? I saw it in the theater.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't greatly, it didn't last long in theaters. I believe it was because of Return of the Living Dead that came out right around the same time. How disappointed were you in the reaction to Day when it first
for me, at that point in time, it wasn't at all disappointing at all, because I wasn't really connected to the business side of what was happening with these films.
Okay.
I was there as an actor, and I would, go in, do my job. I would go home. So I wasn't connected. So there was not really. I wasn't following its distribution or its response by audiences or anything like that. It was primarily just me as an actor going and doing my job and going home. So I never got that that involved with that side of things. But it wasn't unusual for a lot of George's films not to be well received immediately. You know, I had the same. Well, I had the same problem with Martin when it was so. You know, nobody knew about it, and then 38 years later, now they're all cult films, and followed very appreciatively by many fans, which is why we're all here today.
And is there a lot of the same cast members you haven't seen in a while?
Oh yeah, a bunch of them. Haven't seen Howard in a long time. Most of them haven't seen in several years. You know, once in a while we'll run into each other, but there has never been a day reunion with as many cast members as are here today. You know, there are 11 of us here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
After Dave, you worked with Lori Cardell again on No Pets.
I did, yeah, with Tony Bubu, who was also part of the Romero family, who did sound on Martin. His brother did a lot of the editing for Night Riders and Day of the Dead, and Romero, we were a repertory company. We were a family of actors, directors, designers. Everybody's connected somehow, which I think is why, you know, when we do get together, we have such a good time. We all get along. We all like each other.
Right.
You know, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah, that was Tony's. Tony is primarily known as a documentarian, but this was his first kind of feature. So he wrote and directed this little movie called No Pets, about a kind of middle-class guy or a working-class guy that has a dog and he's being forced to move, or he's being forced to get rid of his dog. And Lori is the tenant, and her husband owns the apartment that he's in, and so we have a little affair on the side. And point being is that it was a nice little movie and a nice little step away from the horror stuff that I was involved with George in. And we went to I went to the London Film Festival with it in '93, and that was kind of gratifying and very cool. Yeah.
You also stepped away from the horror genre with The Bread My Sweet.
I did, yeah. I mean, pretty much at that point, George was kind of moving out of Pittsburgh, it seems to me. I mean, he stayed here past that point, but he wasn't making any movies, you know. The last film that I actually worked on with him was, maybe you have it written down, I don't know. No, with Timothy Hutton.
Oh,
The Dark Cat, yeah. I doubled for Timothy Hutton in The Dark Cat. And so that was the last thing I did with George entirely. So yeah. I've lost my train of thought. We'll have to do some editing. We're going to have to do some heavy-duty editing.
We're almost done.
No problem.
We already talked about how I wanted to ask you about David Mamet. Last one is, what piece of work, film or stage, are you the most proud of?
On film, it's Martin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stage?
Hands down. That's hard. I mean, I've done over 100 plays, so it's hard to say for sure.
And you've directed as well.
And I did another Mamet,
American Buffalo.
And I really loved doing that. I really did. I loved doing American Buffalo. And you had mentioned Glengarry. I loved doing Glengarry too.
What was your opinion on the film version?
Terrific.
You liked it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's fantastic. Fantastic. But I've done a lot of plays. I do a lot of directing, more directing now than acting. One of my favorite plays to direct of all time is a play called Time of Life, which is William Saroyan, and it takes place just before the Second World War. And it's a beautiful, beautiful poetic play about a group of people that come to this waterfront bar. And, it just spans the course of a day or a night in the lives of these folks that live in this bar. If you ever have a chance, read it. Actually, Jimmy Cagney did a movie version of it.
Oh, okay. So it's
yeah, it's on, and there are several versions of it. There's a Playhouse 90 version of it that was made in the late 50s.
Okay.
That's very good. And that's, you should check it out. Yeah, it's a great play. It's a great play.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, that's
Gee whiz. Well, we did a lot of rambling. Nothing was specific. There was, I didn't say anything that would incriminate me, I don't think, too terribly much. I hope, if nothing else, it was at least kind of fun, sort of.
Absolutely.
So if it was that, you know, I don't know how much real good information you got from it.
It's actually great. That was fantastic. So thank
It
you
was a
so
real
much.
pleasure.
Honestly,
Thank you, guys.
A good scene together. Because I have this photo right here you signed for me last time you were here, and I have it right by my bar in my
Great,
house down
man.
there.
Well, you chose the right photo.
Yeah, that's
That's the key. That's it.
All right, we're good.
Thank you so much.